to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience.
Yes, sir.
We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Happy, Sunday for us, Friday when you see it. But welcome to another fun episode of Athletics LLC. Going strong for almost, where are we at? 4 divided by 32, 8 months now. Holy moly. So we'll keep going until you all tell us to stop. But let's go ahead and introduce a lovely gentleman on my screen here. We've got Clyde.
Going on.
Mr. Clyde, I didn't ask last week, or maybe I even missed the week before, but is that a tie for Clyde, or is this out of your personal collection?
No. Well, they're all my personal collection now, but this is still, going strong on the donations. Appreciate everybody.
Love it. Love the support. Love it. Mr. Lucious.
Good evening.
Hashtag No Shave November. Is that what it's called?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Lonnie Green, for talking me into that. So. December 1st, baby.
So
the bad part is I'm doing the same, and I
don't think I've ever seen Lucious with this going on.
That's what I said too.
It's going how long, you said?
I mean, at least till December 1st. There's some around me who really like it, so we'll see. We'll see how many votes I get for and against. I don't have any votes against it right now, so I may be around for a while. But this used to be a tradition. I would always do this over the Christmas break. If you go back and look at some old pictures, if you see me indoors and I just have this little stuff here, was a byproduct of having this and then just shaving it down to this. So.
Tapering it out.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it's what the missus says. You can say all you want. It's what she says. And then when she's done, it'll be away. Well, last but definitely not least, we've got Lamar, Dragon Mountain Handcuffs, Huffins. Gotta love it. Gotta love the dialogue that's going on with that right now. The continuous dialogue. Very interesting.
It'll be interesting because there's a mole in the Radakovich camp that they don't know about.
Ooh. Oh, so Scandal. Scandal ABC, not Scandal like Scandal.
Send Olivia there to blow it up, right?
Right? See, I'm telling you, when you hear the heels and see the big white purse, it's on and cracking.
Yep.
That's what we need. We need Olivia. Because
how many things would she be fixing right now? Oh my gosh, she would be so busy.
Oh my, COVID, first of all.
Okay, anyways, back on track. Athletics LLC, here we go. I do have an announcement for all of the audience before we get started with any topics or anything. So you might recognize the two top screens in another affiliate that we have going, Coaches Collab LLC. And we do have an event going on in December, the lab. We'll have a 3-day series of calls going on, talking about different things. Our beloved Clyde is now a part of it as a call group leader. And he actually will be moderating and hosting a call that day, the sessions that day. But in addition to all that fun stuff, we are actually going to do a live, OMG, live Athletics LLC that week. So you will get us hot and heavy on a Wednesday evening. And not that we edit anything besides putting music in the front and the back end, but you are going to get us live in full effect on December 16th.
Possibly the end of the show as we know.
I know. YouTube's like, no more.
I think the problem I see is how we play the music before we go, because I think we'll get booted if we don't play the music at this point.
No, we literally will. I'll pull the old school, get in the beat box or the boom box, push play, right? Remember play, record, and then stop.
I'm here for that.
I was on point with that. Don't worry about that. So anyhow, mark your calendars. Live Athletics LLC, December 16th. So Don't miss it, because you're going to be able to give us some questions, give us some input that I'll be able to read real time. So it's going to be a fun one. But anyhow, and I'll remind you before, we're about a month out, so I'll remind you before that happens.
Is that going to be Facebook Live?
No more Facebook Lives for Chew. No. No more Facebook Live. I know my limits.
An epic fail. So yeah. We learn from our mistakes, right?
That was horrible. Oh my gosh. Never. I will never hit live again. Well, I will hit live only when it's me though. Nobody
Big League is one of the few people that's had a phenomenal 2020. That was the only 2020 faux pas. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh. It was entertaining at the very least. So
Yes, it was.
right?
Yeah, I was clearly there just for the comments. Absolutely.
I mean, so was everybody else. No one had a clue what I was talking about.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get to what everyone's here to see and listen to. Jumping right in, other than the obvious of COVID, what effects do you think COVID has had on the field play in collegiate football?
I think that obviously obvious things aside, I think the COVID scenario has really leveled the playing field of the advantages that many teams seem to have in a normal year. I don't imagine that all of a sudden some of these coaches became so much worse, or some of these coaches became so much better, or the talent on the rosters all of a sudden is so much different. I think, things like sellout fans and stadiums being jam-packed and all of that really, really matters at the collegiate football level more than maybe any other level. And I think that with no fans in the stands, I think the playing field has been, leveled. And I think some people are handling the travel a lot differently. And therefore, you're seeing a lot of quote-unquote upsets that you normally wouldn't see. And I think it's, if anything, it's been interesting. It definitely doesn't feel like, college football season as in any kind of normal state of affairs. And in many ways, it's a lot less interesting because of that. But on the who's going to win week to week, no clue. And I think that makes everything a hell of a lot more interesting. And I think the fan base is the biggest difference that has affected that.
I think for me, when we talk about on the field play, I think that clearly it has had a huge effect on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen more points put up across the country. Clearly, it seems that we can prepare better offensively than defensively when you can't, meet as much. That would lead me to believe that maybe the strength and conditioning side of it has come into play. I think that, I talk a lot about P's when I talk to people, things, but the two P's I'm going to use now are precision and preparation. The precision, even offensively, has been sporadic at best. Preparation has not been what we are accustomed to. And clearly, there are some teams in the Big Ten that probably should have stayed shut down. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Boy, taking shots for those. Just
I'm not taking shots.
Gratuitous shots.
Like they made the biggest deal ever, and then they came out unprepared. And so I'm just saying, if you're going to make a big deal and you got to play, then when it's time to play, you should be ready to play. I didn't call out any names. There are several ones I could have called out, but all I'm saying is that there are some teams out there that probably should have stayed shut down because they didn't do a good job of preparing their athletes. And I'm going to let my man Drag Me Out do his thing now.
I have enjoyed laughing at all of this, just to be completely honest. I think the first thing that has become ridiculously obvious, and it's not on field, so I'll be quick with it, but the first thing that has become ridiculously obvious, and if I was a collegiate football player, I would know this, and I would throw this in the faces of every administrator that ever talked to me. They can't survive without me. Collegiate football players now should completely understand that they have a seat at the table, because football is being played hell or high water. which, for the record, Lucious and I said was gonna happen. Like football was gonna be played.
We're not doing that tonight.
That's not even a shot.
The question said, how is it affected on the field?
That wasn't
Get your
even
butt back on the field.
That wasn't even. But you know how? Look, listen. Captain Petty has to get a petty shot every now and again. So anyway,
hold on a second.
Petty said that it shouldn't be played.
Yeah. See what you started now.
So anyway, on the field, which was what the question was, I think the biggest and most obvious thing is those who can coach, meaning not in a system, but coach the players and not, and not the positions, and coach the players, the actual ones they have in front of them, and relate from week to week. Those coaches they're earning their money. Like, listen, you can't convince me that Liberty and Indiana have better football programs than 99.9% of the teams in this country. But right now on the field, they look like it. I mean, Indiana has dragged Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, and back-to-back weekends. So at least two of them are those teams that Lucious was referring to that clearly should have just, hey, I said it. I said it.
You said it.
James Franklin and Mr. Harbaugh, you're overrated, clearly, because in a situation where you had an opportunity to, in all honesty, look, everything's stacked in your favor, and you come out and you lay such eggs that, like, you're getting thrashed by inferior teams. Anyway, I think on the field, just truthfully, I think on the field, like, all jokes aside, I feel like the coaches who are best at preparing from week to week, as opposed to, like, all right, I got the best players, I'll roll things out, and if everything works the way it's supposed to, I'm going to win. I think the coaches who are best at preparing from week to week and adapting to change and dealing with chaos, those coaches they're coaching their asses off right now. And here's a shocker. The two best teams in the country are still the two best teams in the country. Because if anybody thinks that Clemson and Alabama are not the two best teams in the country, I love to see it. I think Florida and Alabama is going to be a very interesting game. I think the Gators actually have a shot.
You assume that game gets played, but I would agree it would be.
Bro, that game is going to get played.
Wow.
Regardless.
Can we have one episode where we don't do the doom and gloom? Just one? Is that too much to ask?
I'm sorry that.
I mean, see. Here's
not get canceled this week.
Here's the thing, but that means that half of it got played.
Sure, that's why I said
okay,
we don't know if the game gonna get played.
So instead of talking about the half that didn't get played, let's talk about the half that got played. And my man said that when they play, because at some point in time they're going to play, okay, even if it's postponed, they're going to play. Doom and gloom. Okay, it's going to be an interesting game. So, but I have a question. If why do you say, Mr. Drag Me Off in Handcuffs, that inferior teams are dragging superior teams? If they're that inferior, why are they dragging them? Because see, I beg to differ. Now, this is Mr. Lamar. Okay. Like, I don't know how Indiana clearly has collected some good talent. So I don't want to downplay what Indiana's doing. I don't want to downplay what Liberty's doing, because Liberty, didn't they just beat who they just
beat? They beat a Power 5 school, and I can't remember who it is. They beat a Power 5 school this past weekend.
The weekend before last.
Yeah, well, okay, not Saturday, the previous Saturday.
Right. So, but like, I don't want to downplay what those teams are doing because it's COVID. Okay. At the end of the day, okay, your players are your players. And so if they're preparing their players better, then let's give them credit for doing so. Not play it down, because this guy, I'm an Ohio State guy, so obviously I'm not going to defend Mr. Harbaugh. That's your opinion. I'm going to let you roll with that. Okay. But at the end of the day,
I said it.
Like I said, I'm not defending him. I'm an Ohio State guy. Okay. But at the end of the day, like, let's not downplay Indiana. Let's not downplay Liberty and anybody else that's playing good football. Let's give them credit for doing, what they're doing.
Oh, I'm not going to have to downplay them. Indiana plays Ohio State this weekend. And Ohio State's going to win by 4 touchdowns. Because unlike a lot of these other schools,
that doesn't change the fact that they beat the other teams.
No, it does. My point is, look, if we had no COVID, if I told you Ohio State was playing Indiana, you would say, oh, okay, Ohio State's going to win by 4 touchdowns. My point is, Ohio State is playing to their abilities. IU is playing to their abilities. Penn State, Michigan. Well, Michigan State's just trash. And I think there's some stuff going on that campus because they've been trash for a few years, and it's kind of coincided with the whole doctor issue. No. I'm not saying like he had anything to do with it. I'm just saying like I think there's a Paul on the campus. If I'm making any sense. I don't mean like he had anything to do with the football player.
Hey, we got you.
I'm just saying
don't need to go further down that rabbit hole. So
it hasn't been good at Michigan State for about 3 years. But Michigan and Penn State, they both not only came into this year ballyhooed, they also both had top 10 recruiting classes. So it's clear that they have abilities on campus. But when I say getting dragged, like these aren't close games in some of these cases.
Which speaks to my point that maybe Indiana's better than you give them credit for being.
We'll find out next Saturday.
It's possible that Indiana's better than anyone would have given them credit for preseason.
That is probably true.
And that could have happened even if it was not COVID. That could be the situation.
Sure, it could
because
have.
We have the Cinderella stories. We have the new kid on the block every year.
Sure, it absolutely could have. But to my original point about the atmosphere of these games, college football is a lot about atmosphere. Like nighttime at LSU is a thing, right? Really difficult to win those games.
Nighttime at Penn State during a whiteout is a thing.
Right. Penn State whiteout. Like now, if it's just a random Saturday and there ain't nobody there, like how much difficult is the atmosphere?
Nobody.
IU has an advantage because they never have any fans.
Anybody in their right mind is going to argue that atmosphere makes a difference.
No.
Hey,
wait a minute. That's not where I was going. Wait a minute. I wasn't done. Hold on. So to Lamar's point, for me to bring it all the way around full circle, it goes back to an earlier conversation that we had about the same issue, but on a different topic. No, sir, you have no idea what I'm saying. So relax.
Oh, I do exactly what you're saying.
No, you don't.
Okay.
We had a conversation a couple weeks ago about how the COVID situation would impact our sport and what would happen. And the consensus seemed to be that the better coaches, the people that do a better job of developing the talent of their athletes would shine through. What I'm saying is atmospheric. What Lamar is saying is without all the bells and whistles and the advantages that they normally have, some people are getting exposed. And I believe, and it seems that he believes in this situation, what's the quote? It's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmy's and the Joes. Well, seems like the X's and the O's and the people that's running them might be a big part of this equation. And I feel the biggest thing that's on the field that's being exposed via COVID is some of these people may not be as awesome coaches as we all seem to think they are. We know no one is going to claim that Michigan has an inferior roster from a recruiting standpoint than Indiana. That would be ludicrous to say right now. They don't.
Everybody said that, or everybody would say that.
But Indiana's thriving and Michigan looks like a train wreck.
Okay, so all right, so like I said from the beginning, for me, precision and preparation. So you're speaking to what I said. The whole atmosphere thing, okay, because they've lost on the road and they've had to go on the road before in hostile situations and they've won. Okay, I'm not saying that the atmosphere and the hype doesn't help, but I'm also saying they are defeated. They have not won a game. And that is not all due to the atmosphere. So my point is this, is that I am not disputing whether either you or dragging him out of handcuffs is said tonight. All I am saying is that for me, the whole thing with the atmosphere doesn't work because they've had to go on the road. For me, this goes back to like we talked about with the track did. It's about preparation. I totally agree with you on that one. You know, I totally agree that if you match up Michigan and Indiana's roster, Michigan should win. But I'm also going to sit here and tell you that I don't think that that's a situation where if anybody's paying attention, nobody's totally surprised at what's going on right there, because this was coming, COVID or no COVID, that was coming. It was just a matter of time. You know, now the whole thing with Penn State, I think is a shock to everybody. You know, but there's other programs out there in other conferences. I mean, there's some teams in the ACC that aren't playing well. Let's not just pick on the Big Ten. There's some Pac-12 teams that haven't been stellar, you know. And then on the other
There's some
hand,
Pac-12 teams that haven't played yet.
I was just going to say that they haven't even played.
It's true. Right. You know,
and there's some SEC teams that ain't playing well.
Okay, I was about to go there, and then somebody interrupted me.
You were late. Okay, got it.
How can I be late? He interrupted me.
My bad.
I said Pac-12, and then he interrupted me. And then here you come with there's some SEC. Okay. There are teams in every conference across America that aren't playing well. You feel better now? So I now have to go down the whole list. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, because clearly, you know, you spoke to the Baton Rouge situation. Nobody saw that coming, right? And again, so again, that goes back to me for preparation, right? It has nothing to do with the fact that they can't play all their games at night in Death Valley, because Death Valley doesn't win the football game. Whether you want to believe it or not, eventually the Jeffs and the Joes or Billy Bob and whoever, they win the daggone football games. Okay, don't kid yourself.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah.
So I get, you know, the whole atmosphere of Death Valley. I get the atmosphere. It is going to be a long time before those things come back into play, right? So, but the thing we better keep an eye on from this day forward is the people that are able to prepare their athletes to do. And see, I still think it goes back to the strength and conditioning situation. I think that's what's being exposed more than anything else here. The teams with the better strength and conditioning programs are the teams that are playing best, in my opinion.
I refuse to give strength and conditioning anywhere near that amount of credit. Fuck those guys.
Hey. They're not all bad. That's not fair.
They're not all bad.
They're not.
Still not giving them that credit.
So you can't throw the middle finger at everybody in America because you had a couple of bad experiences. That's not fair. I happen to have an incredible strength coach. I love my guys, so I'm not. Yeah, I'm good. But if you take a good look at it, if you watch the play on the field, the teams that look the strongest, the teams that are in condition to get through the third and fourth quarters are the teams that are winning football games. You know, we watched a marvelous football game the other night between Clemson and Notre Dame, and they played hard right into overtime. Right into it.
Right into COVID.
Well, so to that point, right? That was a good game. I watched most of it. The storming of the field was ridiculous because Trevor Lawrence didn't play. So props to Dabo and the crew for almost pulling that game out with the backup quarterback. Do we believe if Ian Book wasn't out there that Notre Dame could have competed that well with their backup? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But here's the thing. But then you talk about the atmosphere, but then you want to take it away. You know, there was no atmosphere there. I'm saying, but it was for those fans that stormed the field. Because see, that's something they will be talking about when they're 60, 70 years old. We stormed the field.
If they live to be 60,
we ran on the field in the middle of COVID when we beat Clemson. They're gonna be talking about it. Right? So like you can't talk about the experience and the atmosphere and then take that away from that. Look, I totally disagree with what they did. I totally disagree with that they allowed them to do that. But then at the same token, like that's what people do when they upset the number one team in the country.
I just can't wait to the ACC championship game when Notre Dame gets beat by 4 touchdowns.
And here's the beauty of it. Like supposedly nobody tested positive from that, so we're good.
I believe that.
Hey, supposedly. Right?
I believe that about as much as I believe.
But hey, it's possible. It's possible. So we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. I apologize for bringing that up. That's my
For note, Liberty just beat Western Carolina yesterday, and then the week before was Virginia Tech.
Yes,
and they were very lopsided scores.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they beat Virginia Tech, and the Virginia Tech played Miami to the end. Liberty has a good football team. They do,
no doubt.
And clearly, Liberty. He's Liberty's head coach now. You know, he came from a Power 5 situation, and clearly he's done a great job. I think that, from what I could believe was going on, the people that spent more time getting their kids strong and in shape versus running plays and that stuff are the teams that are doing better right now.
Trying to find their coach real quick for you. Hugh Freeze.
There you go. My man, Hugh. Huey. Doing a great job. Yep.
Got it. All right. Switching gears, talking about coaches and their greatness. What makes a great coach a great coach?
Oh, I think that Lucious should go first.
Did you see that side eye? Oh.
Oh boy.
I'm just glad I'm glad I'm not there because I'm pretty sure he would have hit me for that one.
Yes, I would. At least throw something at you if I hit you. But okay, so I'm just going to start off with adaptation. I think that in order to be a great coach, you have to have the ability to adapt to the talent on your campus. You have to have the ability to adapt to injuries, to adapt to signing an athlete who you think can handle your training program, and then getting said athlete understanding that you've got to make tweaks, that sometimes you have to be flexible more than anything else. As far as being a great head coach, I think that you have to be able to be trusting of your assistants and have assistants that you believe in, that they can get the job done. You have to be a leader, and you don't have to be just a leader for your athletes, leader for your trainers, leader for anybody's support, leader for your assistant coaches. And I think that if you watch the better teams, no matter whether it's track and field, baseball, basketball, football, whatever the sport is, most of those teams take on the persona of the head coach. They do. And so I think that's where the leadership piece comes in for me. So I think, again, adaptability, being a great leader, being able to put a little bit of who you are into your team. In those pressure situations, the teams that crack are usually the teams that are led by somebody that would crack under that same pressure. Was that good enough for you, Dragon?
I like it. And you know what?
That was very well said. I agree with all of it, and he stole one of my words, which was adaptation.
I'm glad I went first then.
Yeah, no doubt. So very, very well stated, sir. For me, when this question is posed, obviously my brain went straight to our sport, but as Lucious just laid out, I think that these answers, cross whatever sport. The leadership thing is really huge, but your leadership style matters, right? I think that to be a great coach, you have to be able to lead in different ways to serve all of the people that you need to meet at the places that they are, right? And so, adaptability is vital. For me, development is vital, because it's really easy to take, the best of the best. It's really easy to take the 5-star and just, not hurt them and, reap the benefits. So to me, people that I consider great coaches are all people that have proven to be able to develop the talents around them. And that goes from the athletes that they get to work with. It also goes with the coaches whose lives they're involved with. Like, truly great coaches, should be elevating all of these people that you come into contact with. And I think that is, really, really important. So for me, your leadership style matters, and there's a bunch of ways to get that done, but you have to be smart enough to realize which way is going to get done with this kid, with this assistant, with these people. And development is really, really big for me. Those were the two words that really landed with me on that particular subject.
I'm a fan of this question, and I'm a fan of both the answers given. I'm a huge fan, actually. And the words that I think everybody uses, it comes out to be defined as the term cult of personality. You have to be the kind of person that people want to listen to, follow, and be led by. as athletes or as assistant coaches. I think adaptability, I think that was the word that Clyde used. And for my money, I think being malleable is if you're not that, I don't know how you can be successful. If you can only coach certain kinds of kids to be successful, or certain kinds of men or certain kinds of women to be successful, that makes your ability to be successful incredibly myopic. So it's like, in order to beat you, all I got to do is out recruit you for the kind of kids that you need, and then you can't beat me. And then for me, the last one is the one that, to Lucious's point about adaptability, is, you got to be able, I don't know who this was. Some old football coach said that, a great coach can beat you with yours and him with his, and beat you with his and you with his, or something like that. But basically, like, no matter which team you got, the best coach has a shot. So it's not dictated by talent. And the phraseology I always like to use is, a team of lambs being led by a lion will beat a team of lions being led by a lamb. And that's proven itself out like a million times. I've seen the best team get smacked a bunch of times because the guy or the girl, because I've seen it in both cases, the leader was the softest one there. And at the end of the day, look, I'd rather have a soft team and a great leader than a great team and a soft leader, any day and every day and twice on Sunday. So for me, if I had to circle it into one thing, like, what makes a great coach great is exactly that. Like, when they talk, you're inspired by them. Like, my son always gives me crap because I always talk about Mike Tomlin. And I was like, yeah, I would get off the couch right now and go give what's left of this beat up 50-year-old body to play football for the Steelers, who I'm not a fan of, but I would play for Mike Tomlin for like 3 plays before they carted my ass off. Because when I hear him talk, I am inspired. I believe that he believes with the greatest conviction in all of his players. And everybody that I know that's a great coach, that's how I feel when they talk. Like, every time Tony Dungy talks, I'm like, he should be coaching somewhere, right now. He doesn't want to, and I get it. But Tony Dungy could probably take like the worst Pop Warner football team in America and make them really good, because he's got that. And, that cult of personality is a thing, man. It's a real live thing.
A word that I left out, vision. Because if you don't have the ability, to see these things playing out and to know what pieces to put in place to make yourself successful, ultimately you won't be. That was vision goes a long way. And I think the true visionaries in the coaching world are the people that manage to survive regardless of, the things that they are handed or the obstacles that they have to overcome. You have to find a way. You have to have an ability to see a path through all the forests and the fires and the trees that are, tripping you up. So, I've seen situations where coaches are, to Lamar's point, you're handed the best team, or you walk into a really good situation, and all of a sudden it becomes a complicated, dumpster fire. I think that's a lack of vision. I think that's a lack of, foresight. And, there's a certain level of humility that comes with great coaches. Anybody who's good at their profession, they think pretty highly of themselves, and rightfully so. But if you're so arrogant that you can't see past your shortcomings, if you're so arrogant that you can't understand that you have weaknesses and work on them, or the ability to evolve your skill set, or to think that you need to evolve your skill set, that level of lack of vision, that level of arrogance can ultimately, ruin your product. So, vision is another one that I would definitely throw in there.
And I just want to, I think that if you want to be a great coach, the first thing you have to avoid is arrogance, because arrogance is a coach killer. It's a career killer at any level. And the moment you think you've got it all figured out, that you think and you can't get any better, you need to go check yourself into an insane asylum, because you clearly lost your mind. We've all talked about this, the coach that, has a little bit of success and then now you can't tell him anything. I would say that I like talking to the coaches who are always around. It's not always the guy that's winning the championships. A lot of times it's the guy or the girl that's always around, that's always got somebody there, that's somebody you never heard of. Those are the great coaches, So, pay attention to that. But again, to Clyde's point, you have to be humble. You have to have some humility to you, and you absolutely have to avoid the arrogance of thinking that you know it all and that you can do no wrong. That just can't be a thing if you want to be a successful coach. It just can't be.
I mean, I think we've all talked about this before, and it turns all of us off. The coaches who refer to the athletes that they are blessed to coach as my athletes. And it's like when my guys did this or when my girls did this and, my athletes have never failed under pressure and things of that nature. It's like, man, those people don't belong to you. This ain't slavery. Like, look, they are people that God blessed you to be able to guide their careers. Like, don't get crazy. That's who they are,
and that's the arrogance piece of it. And I think that every now and then that word "my" comes out of everybody's mouth. That's just I don't think for everybody it's not meant in that way. But the person that says it over and over and over, the person that uses "my" and "I" a lot is not. No, that's not a good thing.
It's not about you, right? We say it all the time. It's not about you.
Not at all. Not even close.
Brooks Johnson will like that last piece.
No, Brooks Johnson will love that last piece.
Right. Good stuff. I like those. I hope everyone's taking notes on that part of how and what and when to do the things they need to do to be the great coach. So taking the attributes of a great coach, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. If the pandemic does force another missed season, what is the fallout for the high schools and the collegiate population? Specifically, those two populations.
Well, I think, honestly, the high schoolers will be okay. I think as you've seen through the early signing period that there's a lot of track athletes that are getting signed. And I think that at some level, whether it be the early signing or the late signing, that group is going to be okay. I think the challenge that will be faced by the collegiate coaches who now I think have to work a little bit harder to identify talent. I think we talked about that a little bit before in dealing with the first shutdown. I think also in the collegiate level, it's going to make it interesting as to what the NCAA does, because if they continue this trend of, okay, you can have an extra year, then we'll have guys with grandkids running track and field, The other problem you're going to have is this creates a definite inequity problem, because there are some schools that have the ability to bring people back at their own cost that don't count against their scholarship numbers, and there's others who can't afford to do that. We've seen that already have an effect on collegiate track and field as well. So that will be the biggest thing, I think, with as far as at the NCAA level, the number of schools who will say, hey, we got 6 or 7 people, we can bring them all back, versus the school that says, well, if you bring those 6 or 7 back, then you can't bring anybody else in. So that's going to create an inequitable situation in some ways on a lot of campuses around America.
Yeah, so this is really, if COVID ruins another season at the collegiate level, I think the fallout of that is it's going to force a lot of administrators to have to kind of like get off the fence and start making some actual decisions. Because really, to this point, it's like the NCAA said, hey, free pass, everybody can come back. And I think the bulk of everybody else took that and was like, the NCAA said free pass, everybody comes back, but the money side, y'all work that out individually. And then by and large, the administrators, for the most part, in those positions said, okay, we'll find a way to work it out. You know what I mean? Big Ten aside, because I think they just said, nope, we're not dealing with it. You guys, you're done. Mm-hmm. Which seemed cold-blooded at the time, but may prove to be the smartest thing possible, because their cycles, their business operations haven't really been impacted that way. Whereas, if this thing happens again, we'll have freshmen on the campus whose money has been extended for 2 or 3 cycles in a sense, depending on how their careers go. Well, that is an insane and unsustainable reality. And in some cases, you might have to end up looking kid X in the face and be like, hey, I hear you, but you're going to get these last 2 years and then, we got to move. And that's an uncomfortable position for everybody. And depending on where you're employed, maybe your school doesn't want to look at it that way. Maybe, they're more kid-centric, or maybe they're more scared of the fallout of the parents than they are about the success of the program. Whereas in another place, hey, it is what it is. We're going to keep this train moving so we can continue to be successful. Where that falls out at the high school level is there are less opportunities out there. Yes, people are definitely getting signed and we're all out here grinding and trying to do what we do. But the pot of resources is finite. And if this thing continues to roll and get passes, the amount of opportunities at every campus is going to be smaller and smaller and smaller, which means the high school kids are going to have less opportunities and less money, which means more money out of the parents' pockets. It all, connects together. So, I think the fallout of it is a lot of strain, a lot more stress, it could ultimately lead to some kids looking at some other opportunities that they may have not been thinking about beforehand.
I have a question for you before you.
Sure.
I thought to interrupt, but I don't understand if they continue to say it's not going to count against you, and the administrators say it's okay. How does that affect the pot of money available for the high school kids?
Oh, what I'm saying is I don't believe that it's not going to count against you. It's just going to be I don't think that's sustainable. I don't see how that can continue to be the situation, because as we all know, when they say it doesn't count against you, on the scholarship count number side, that is still real money that has to be spent somewhere. Well, I'd say the vast majority of programs in our sport ain't cool with the bill just going to keep on stacking up. At some point, that's going to come to a head, and they're going to be like,
I agree. And I think what would happen in that case, honestly, I think what will happen is that you'll see, okay, you can bring he or she back if they're a major contributor to the program. If they're not, like you said, people have to make some serious conversation. And I think too, something we continue to forget about is a lot of these kids that are on your campuses now that aren't counting would still be on your campuses getting their degree as a 5th-year student anyway. So they would be on that same scholarship they're on anyway, even though they don't count against you. Does that make sense?
In some cases, that's absolutely correct.
But I do agree that that pot of money is not going to last forever. I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. And in some cases, you're absolutely right. But another year of this, and then that's absolutely not the case anymore.
But again, I agree, but I disagree, because those people that are on that 50-year aid this year are now gone, and then that next group falls into that lap. Now, again, for probably about half the country, that's okay, and then the other half, it's not. So I think that's where I think the inequity is going to come into play, where the teams with them that have been more fiscally responsible will be able to handle that, and those who have not will not be able to.
Sure. It's funny because my answer falls kind of as a combination of the two of you guys' answers. And a lot of it is because I deal with probably more junior college people than both of you. And this phenomenon has come about, which is very bizarre. I know not one, but several young men that fall into this category. They were at school X, redshirted their freshman year. So that was a normal redshirt year pre-COVID. Their redshirt freshman year was the COVID year, which they got back. They are now at a junior college. The NJCAA has said that this entire year of NJCAA sports does not count against anybody's eligibility. So I know several kids who have been in school for 3 years that have 4 years of eligibility left at a 4-year school. And where this is coming about is the thing that I don't think the NCAA was prepared for, because they shouldn't have been when they first put in this rule, is the immediate transfer eligibility of graduates. And the reason I say that is because now, look, school's never stopped, right? So like these people's athletic calendars have stopped. But if we give them another year that gets cut by COVID, another year that doesn't count against them athletically, you're talking about kids who are 3/4 or fully through their course of study, who have 3 and 4 years of eligibility left, at least 3. 2 and 3 is going to become the norm of people with who have graduated. Right, I know several kids who are going to graduate this year, that if this year doesn't count against them, they're going to have 2 years of eligibility left after graduating from college.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, what all this means is, like I said, it's a combination of both of your answers. To Lucious's point, if you have been fiscally prudent and you can help a young person get into grad school and or help them a bit with their graduate degree, and you also have a good track program, man, are you going to become really, really popular. Because I already got my degree. Like, this is free money. Like, I'm playing to play. Because a lot of people they're going to get into graduate programs and do these things so they can continue to run, right? You know, or play basketball or whatever it is. But what's going to be really bizarre is, and I've said this since the beginning, the more free eligibility we give, the worse the normal developmental kid gets hurt, because there's more classes of people still in school, still more talented than them. Right. And there's only 8 lanes. There's only, 26 spots on a bus, or however, whatever the finite numbers are that we're talking about. At the end of the day, there's still only a finite number of positions to play in any sport, right? I mean, you could have a track team that has 80 people on it. All 80 can't participate. It's like none of us can figure that out, right? You can only put 3, 4 at most in an event. You can only carry 32. At some point in time, you bump up against the limits, and you can have too much. And what I think is going to happen, if the NCAA doesn't actually make a decision this time, because let's be clear, we all agree they did make a decision last time. But if this happens again, if we get shut down and this next outdoor season gets cut from everybody, and it's it's a COVID wash, like, look, this is ugly to say to somebody, especially if they're a senior. It's like, look, I hate that this happened to you, but at the end of the day, this is fate, and it just is what it is. Like, you're gonna have to graduate and move on. We can't scholarship you for, like, the NCAA system was made to have 5 to make 4. That's the system. There are those freaks of nature that had 2 freakish accidents and they end up with 6 to make 4. We can count those on one hand, right? No system was made to have 7-year and 8-year regular collegiate careers, or 3 or 4, or in some cases 5-year JUCO careers. Like, that's just not a thing. And at some point in time, we have to move these people. Unfortunately, we have to move them on. The commercial says it. The commercial says it best, right? Most people are going to go pro in something other than sports.
And the JUCO example is a great example, but it plays all the way across, right? And I think that's where I was trying. You said it better than I did, Lamar, but that's where I was trying to articulate the fallout on the high school side. It's like, if I have kids who, if kid X graduates from Florida, but they still have 2 years of eligibility, and for whatever reason they don't want to go to grad school at Florida, now that recruit is a lot shinier in the portal than the high school kid who's not a phenom, right? So I'm like, well, hey, we're going to jump on these people because they're proven, proven talents. Like, we know what they can do at the NCAAs because we've seen it. And for every kid that moves on that way, that's another opportunity for high school kids that's not coming. Because again, the money is what it is. Like, there's only so many resources. So, I feel bad. Like, recruiting the 2021s has been tough. Like, they didn't get to race. A lot of it's projection. You got to identify talent differently. Can you imagine the 2022s if they don't get to run? Like, oh my God, they haven't run since they were freshmen in high school. Like, that's awful. And so, the fallout of that is absolutely that a whole bunch of kids that would have got opportunities otherwise ain't going to get them, or they're at least not going to get them at the level that they would have if they would have got to go race. So, hopefully we all hope that doesn't happen, but it's getting worse in 48 out of 50 states right now. So it's possible.
I'll say this. If for some reason the 2021 high school season is also canceled, as was the 2020, what you can 100% guarantee is it's already happened in baseball. The junior college athletics in 2022 are going to be off the chain. Because at some level, like if you're at a Power 5 school, it's just hard to scholarship a kid that hasn't run in a race in 2 years. You might believe that they're talented. You might see workouts and stuff that, on video, but at the end of the day, it's hard to put 90% into a kid whose actual meet part is 10.95, and they ran that when they were 15.
This is true.
Yep. But mommy and daddy think they're fast, so we should scholarship them.
Hey, then they should go to Mommy and Daddy University.
Anyways, sorry, had to throw that one in there. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. And I'm sure everyone at some point in this conversation has been like, yeah, gosh, or has agreed, or I don't know that anybody can disagree with anything that you all said. Because I think at every level, at some point, everyone has been affected in what you have said. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure. I think the next 2 months will tell us a lot.
The NJCAA really and truly threw a wrench in everybody's plans, because the NJCAA saying that this entire year doesn't count athletically without the coinciding official proclamation from the NCAA, that makes things funky because that hasn't happened yet. So now you got
that's the other thing too. Like, just because they're not counting it doesn't mean the NCAA won't count it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so that's the funky thing, is that you got kids that think that right now that they're in their second year at in junior college, but that year doesn't count. So they got 3 years of eligibility. And if the NCAA doesn't back that, which it's going to be tough to do financially, right? But if they don't back that, like, then what?
If they don't back it, then now that said kid just this year is their redshirt year.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Look, at the end of the day, look, if 2 years get taken away, you're going to lose one no matter how you slice it. It's just kind of impossible.
Yeah.
The collegiate system was not meant to have a 6-year career.
Nope, it was not.
That's crazy. Okay, let's talk some lighter stuff. In your opinion, what's the best collegiate track team ever? Female and male. So black and white or color. Depends on which colors, what pictures
That's
are we
funny.
looking at, right?
We're doing women
Lamar's
first
up.
or men first?
Women are always first, are we not?
Let's go
Okay.
females.
The women being first, I'm going to go with the best women's track team, non-USA that I've ever seen, was my freshman year, LSU's 1989 outdoor team. That was the team with, they went 1, 2, 3 in the women's 100 hurdles. Set the collegiate record in the 100, Dawn Sewell, 200, Dawn Sewell, 4x1, anchored by Dawn Sewell, and I think the 4x4. Danielle Mitchell was on that team, and I think she was at NNC's in the shot and the disc. I guess, long story short, in my opinion, I'm old and I forget stuff, but that team that women's team was the craziest juggernaut I've ever seen at the meet.
Not a bad choice, and definitely one that I consider taking. I'm gonna go in a different direction. For me, and I'm prefacing this in advance. My justification for the men's choice is gonna be different than the women's choice.
Oh, this is
The
good.
best, yes. So the best team is the 2002 South Carolina Gamecocks. They scored 82 points, which is, look at the history, very difficult to get 80 plus. Scored 82 points, and they had all of these women that I'm going to name eventually represent their country at the Olympics or World Championships. Lashonda Demas, Tiffany Ross, Demetria Washington, the Barber twins, Aileen Bailey, Tacita Bass, Siobhan Stoddard, and Chelsea Hammond. That is an incredible collection of world-class talent, all on one roster, all at the same time. They came into LSU in 2002 and walked out of there with the first championship in the history of the University of South Carolina. 82 points, a whole bunch of upsets in that meet from those women. And the talent that they were, to me, that's the greatest team ever.
And this was a difficult question.
Homer. Oh, sorry.
Oh my God.
I was not a Gamecock when that happened. I was still a UCLA Bruin, so that is not a homer pick.
Your teammates. Anyway, go ahead, Lucious.
Wow. You got
Seriously.
You okay?
That was the devil. Literally the devil just came out of his mouth.
I had a little tickle in my chest. My bad.
I'm not gonna call that a homer pick, but I'm gonna definitely call that a passionate pick, and definitely not a bad pick at all, regardless of whether it's a homer pick or not. Incredible team. A team that I thought about, but clearly I knew that you were gonna go with that, so why waste my time? And also when it comes to the LSU, I mean, why waste my time? So I decided to just make mention of a team that I thought was pretty good, and that would be the 14 A&M women's team, who scored 75 points. They were all over the place, 100, 200 hurdles, both relays, jumps, throws. They absolutely got it done. So that was Olivia Equinay and Kamaria Brown and that crew. So great team. Not quite to the level of those two teams, but great team nonetheless. So I just figured I'd give them a great shout out because they were a great team, and I knew that's where you two guys were going. So, okay.
Well, I how many points did you say that your squad scored, Homer? I mean, Clyde.
Oh my gosh.
82.
What was second place?
It was, I don't remember.
So I just, I don't usually prepare, but I figured I'd Google this one. LSU's women in 89 scored 86 points, and second place was UCLA with 47.
I never said that was the highest score. I knew it wasn't.
Oh, no. I don't even know if that's the highest score, but what I'm saying is they dump trucked everybody.
Absolutely. LSU 89 team was by far and away the best team on that day. No doubt.
And I will say this. What I am, as I gotten older, because remember, I saw them when I was 19. What has impressed me as I've gone further and further from that date is knowing like how important coaches and what's the word? Consistency, how important those things are. And their coach, Lauren Seagrave, was fired between the SEC championship and the NCAA meet.
Okay, so South Carolina won the meet by 10 points over UCLA.
It's funny, UCLA got second in both. Also interesting. But their coach got fired between the SEC meet and the NCAA championship meet. So imagine that turmoil in a 2-week span, as well as a trip from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Provo, Utah for a team full of like 98% black kids. Although they had one heptathlete I almost forgot about her. She was second in NCAA's, I think, from Australia.
So to help settle this mini debate that we're having here, I would like to pose two questions to my compatriots here. I hear everything you're saying, Lamar. Would the two of you agree that in the 80s there was a much deeper concentration of talent than there is in the 2010s plus 2000s plus?
Deeper concentration on a team or
across the country,
nationally?
Across the country, like you
So
said.
you're saying there was more talent back then than there is now?
No, what I'm saying is that today's teams, the talent is more spread out. Like
Now,
for example, before the NFL started expanding teams, there were more talented players on fewer teams than there are today, right? So LSU had a dominant run in the 80s. I mean, they clicked off championship after championship after championship with very little pushback. We don't see things like that today because I believe the talent has been spread out to more campuses and coaching has improved and all this other things. So for LSU to dominate the meet the way that they did, phenomenal performances by, incredible women. I think it was easier for them to do in that day than it would have been 20 years later. Y'all may disagree, but that's part of why I didn't choose that team. But my main argument was who South Carolina had on that team from a talent perspective. How many of those women on that 89 LSU team ended up becoming Olympians?
Okay, now I'm going to answer your first question. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to disagree in any way that South Carolina's team wasn't phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Me neither, for the record.
That many Olympics was also phenomenal. I thought this was an opinion-based question, so everybody's entitled to those. But I will say this to your, I will agree that LSU was out recruiting, out coaching everyone back then. I don't think that people just automatically woke up and said, I'm going to LSU. If you go back and look at some of those teams LSU had, they had people from all over the country. And they had people that came out of high school that really, at that time, they weren't getting like all the best girls. A lot of those girls, they got there and they developed. Like nobody knew who Dawn Sowell was before she walked on that campus, right? So there was a lot of good coaching going on. So let's not discount that, okay? In regards to the South Carolina team, phenomenal job by that group as well. A lot of really good kids came out of high school off of that team. Now, don't get me wrong, they got coached. That coaching staff, Curtis Fry and that staff, absolutely got it done.
I mean, half the people that scored that year were freshmen. Shinda and Tiff were freshmen.
Wait,
so
that just speaks to my point. They coached their butt off. They did. I'm not. Nobody's debating any of that. But I don't want to discount what LSU did because LSU was getting good girls, but they weren't always signing the girls that everybody had to have. Like some of the teams you see, this is what happens in track and field a little bit. You get this, this staff that goes in there and they work hard and they stack up 2 or 3 good recruiting classes, right? Then they hit it and then they go away. And I think that's kind of what you've seen over the landscape over the last few years in track and field. The key will be which one of these teams that have been very successful or very powerful will continue to have that same, enthusiasm and aggression with recruiting, because that's what happened. That was a super talented team and they absolutely got it done. You cannot, like that group, including the men that were around on campus at that time, was phenomenal, on both those campuses at that time. So kudos to both of those coaching staffs. That's the way I say it. But I don't think that it's a matter of that LSU was getting all the good girls, because there were some other good teams around back then. LSU was just really out coaching people back at that time, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
To Lucious's point, and this has never been a slight one team versus the other, but I'll say this, and this is just a little bit of history, and being old helps. Like that 89 teams, like everybody looks at LSU as being a dynasty, right? Okay, but it started with the 89 team. Like you misspoke earlier. LSU's dominance was in the 90s.
Yes, I did misspeak.
That 89
Sure,
team
sure.
was the first team. And
Okay.
to Lucious's point, right? Like Cinnamon Sheffield, Don Sowell, there were a great number of people on that team who were talented, but certainly not like track and field news All-American types, right? They were talented. They got there and they were coached really, really well. And then, just to be honest, I don't know what was said to them coaching wise, but whatever it was, they were on a friggin' mission at the national meet.
You don't have to know
Sure.
what they was said to them. They were pissed because their coach got fired.
Right.
Right. Right.
However, they were fired up. They were fired up.
All right. Well, to the men, I guess.
Am I first again?
I mean,
Wrapping around to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to the year before, the 88 UCLA men's team, and I'm going to use Clyde's rationale. So that the 88 men's UCLA track team had Kevin Young, Mike Marsh, Danny Everett, Steve Lewis, Brian Blutrick, Eric Bergreen. Everybody I've named was an Olympian except for Eric Bergreen, by the way. Everybody I just named was an Olympian. And so on. There were a great number of people on that team. And some of the teams and they won, that was back in the days when the NCAA was 4 days, and they had won the meet after 3. So, and I got to look, but I want to say they scored somewhere around 90 points on a men's side. And I'm just lucky. Like, this is when I started like really paying attention to track. 88 was my senior year in high school. 89 was my freshman year in college.
They scored what year are you saying, sir?
88.
88. They scored 82 points. 82 points. All right.
I think we all agree.
I guess I'm going second.
The LSU women won in 88, buddy. The LSU dynasty actually started in 87.
Okay.
So, for a different reason, and because I knew one of you two were going to reference that UCLA squad, I did not want to be accused of being a homer since that's the original school I attended. My team actually scored 88 points, and I remember being there and just being overwhelmed by, the team that it was. And that is the 2014 Oregon Ducks, led by Edward Cheserek and Devin Allen. Like, I was blown away by that performance. And I mean, they had people, it felt like they had people in every event. It felt like they scored in every event. You go back and look at it, they obviously didn't. But they were just wrecking shop that year. And, it was a very impressive performance, and I'm a huge fan of Cheserek. And I think he goes very unappreciated in our sport, considering he never won the Bowerman and all that stuff. But that was the greatest team performance that I ever witnessed, in person. And so 88 points on the men's side is nuts. So 2014 Oregon Ducks.
Well, this segment's done because but those are both my choices. And unfortunately, I was on the other side of that 88 points. We absolutely nailed it, scored 70 points and got beat by 18.
There it is.
That may have easily been the best performance we've ever had at a national championship, and nobody knows.
So Lucious has effectively broken this debate right here.
Yeah.
When the Gators put up 70 plus and lose by how many?
18.
18.
Yeah.
That's the team, boss.
Right.
That's the team.
That was just one of those where we were standing out in the infield going, wow, we had a great meet. we were literally laughing like we had a great meet. They curb stopped us. No?
Can I put my petty hat on for a second?
Yeah, you can.
We already know where this is
Lucious,
going.
if that meets in Gainesville, how does the score change?
It's about 115 to 60 probably, you know. No, actually it might have been.
No, they were really good. I'm not taking anything away from them. They were really good.
I know, let's be serious here. I think it's a little closer, but I like that year. Like, I don't know what else we could have done. Like, you go back and look at it, there was nothing we did there that we wouldn't have done in Gainesville. And I can't go back and say, hey, so-and-so would have made the final, because everybody did. So it might have been like 85 to 80 or 85 to 75 or something like that. But they were the better team. I can't take that away from them. Can't.
That team was ridiculous. And I didn't pick it because I figured, the Cathedral lover was gonna go that route. I went with
hey,
the
look,
old
and I'll be
squad.
honest with you, both of those, the UCLA team was come on. You just start naming those guys. And then the Oregon team, like I said, I witnessed that. That was a thing where, like, whoever thinks, before we left for the meet, I told people we're going to score 65 to 75 points, and we might not win the meet. So they were that good, and we scored 70. I remember Marquise Denny put on an absolute show.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Like, we got it done across the board. Yeah, not so much.
And so did they.
That Gator team had a bad birthday.
Yeah, it did. It had a horrible birthday. It did.
That's funny.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So in true young, well, I can't say young because Clyde is just a little bit younger than I have taken my notes so I can go Google all these teams. So yeah. TJ, me and you, yo, we got this.
You guys are gonna have fun looking up that 88 meet the 88 point meet was incredible. Like, again, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have scored that many points if they weren't home, because those cats just got it done. And you look at like you talk about Chesirek and the other guys that they had what was the guys? Andrew Weeding in that crew. They were just good. Devin Allen. Devin Allen was like third place with 3 hurdles to go, and then he wins it by 10th of a second. Stuff like that. They were just. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, it's silver. It's silver.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's play the real slots right now. Let's go into medal predictions for the men's 200. So we're talking Tokyo 2021. Who's going to be on the podium?
We're all taking Noah Lyles for the gold.
It's the gold.
This is about silver and bronze, right?
Yeah, about silver and bronze. So
it depends on if Bolt comes back or not.
Okay. Well,
I'll still take.
I'm gonna let you. If Bolt comes back, I'm still going with Noah.
I'm still going with Noah regardless.
But I think I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb. I really like what I saw out of Kenny Benderrick last summer. I really did. I think he's a phenomenal talent. And see, everybody wants to talk about, the wind-aided performances he had at the junior college meet and that kind of thing. But he ran 44 seconds after running 19 stupid. And 44 seconds can't be windy. It's not allowed. Like, if it's windy one way, it's a headwind the other, right? So I really believe, just based on some things I'd never seen him before. I had a chance to be around him and just kind of listen to him and watch him. He's got a little something to him. I know his coach has got a lot of something to him. And so I like what I saw out of Kenny. I don't know how you ever really bet against Andre DeGrasse. He's proven that, if he shows up and he's healthy, he's going to give it a go. But And I think that there's two guys that I think are interesting here. If they can double, Stevie Gardner, and this is what I happen to think that is Mr. Norman's best event is the 200. I believe that, So I'm going to say Noah for the win, Kenny for second. I'm going to give DeGrasse the bronze right now, but if Mr. Norman decides he wants to get fancy, go to the 200, Mike, and then it blows the whole thing wide open. And hey, drag him out. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
We're good, because my prediction is going to be out of this world.
Okay.
What you got, Clyde? What you got?
So you want to go last on this one?
Whichever you would like. Where you want me to be?
No, it's fine. You seem excited, so I was ready to let you.
Oh yeah, he's rubbing his hands. He's ready, dog.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited because look, all the other ones we've done so far, they've been relatively mundane. But this one could go in like 9 million different directions.
Right.
Because I think, Clyde, you're the one that said this before. You're the one that said this before, Clyde. Is like, none of us know who's running the 200.
And that was going to be my lead off statement. Like, this is the men's, specifically the men's 200. We have no idea, other than Noah Lyles,
right?
Who the hell is the thing?
Right.
And to Lucious's point, he named both of my what if people. If Stephen Gardner decides to run it, I kind of can't keep him out of the medals. Mm-hmm. If Mike decides to run it, depending on which double he's playing with, I would actually pick Mike over Noah. But I don't know who's running what. So it's a mess. It's a total mess. So, my medal predictions at this moment are based on the people that I truly believe are going to step out there and run. I believe DeGrasse is going to run it, and therefore I'm going to have to put him in the medal count. Banderic is interesting. He's very, very interesting. I personally believe that his best event is the 4, but I don't think there's any shot that his current situation as a pro will lend him to run the 4, right? So that's very, very interesting. He wasn't in my group. You almost talked me into it. So you really did. So I'm gonna say
I like that.
Noah for the gold. I got DeGrasse coming out with the silver. And I believe Stephen Gardner is going to step out there and run the thing. I really do. I don't know why. I don't have any logical explanation for it, but I think he is. And because I think he is, I'm going to take Stephen Gardner for 3rd, and I wouldn't put him for 3rd, but I believe he's going to run the 4. So coming off of that, I don't have him getting the silver. So DeGrasse 2nd, Stephen Gardner 3rd, but I absolutely reserve the right to choose Michael Norman if he steps out there for the 200.
So I've been excited about this one all day because first off, I think the key to all of this is Christian Coleman, because Christian Coleman will not be around. I believe that one Mr. Noah Lyles is going to run the double. And I think
he'll run the double anyway.
But I think him winning the 100 is going to make him susceptible to my ridiculous pick, which is I am picking Michael Norman for the gold medal. I am picking Mr. Noah Lyles for the silver medal. And I am going to pick the same guy that we all pick that we know is going to get medals, Mr. DeGrasse. That's my picks.
Okay. So Lamar is stepping out and claiming Michael Norman.
I'm standing on the limb like this
today. I like it.
No, you stand on that branch and it's bending. Like
yeah,
it's got a big bow in it.
In the wind too.
No. Let me tell you something now.
I need to ask a question.
I am like Clyde on this one now. If Michael Norman comes out and says, "Hey, I'm going for the 200. Forget the 1, forget the 4. I'm going to 1." Or if he says I'm going to double 1 2.
See, that's the question that I have.
Exactly. So if he goes to 1 2 double, I'm still like he upsets the apple cart. Absolutely
for sure.
upset. Because
Lamar,
So let me finish my thought. You know, I'm old, I forget stuff. Okay. This is just my thing. Okay. I don't think Michael Norman has a love for the 400. I never have. Right? I never have. He runs the 400 because he's fast. Right? He loves the 200. Always has. Always has. And now he's all of a sudden got this love affair with the 1. If Michael Norman decides to run the 200, there are issues across the planet. Him and Noah could take that record and put it someplace that we don't want to see it. Because Michael's crazy, Norman's crazy. I mean, Michael's crazy, Noah's crazy. Both of their coaches are crazy. It becomes a war. And I'm here for. I'm selling tickets to that one. I'm buying my popcorn. I want to see that.
Oh, I think we're all
in my heart. I believe
we're all rooting for that.
That's Michael's event. Look, you know what? Let's start a campaign. Put it out. Let's tweet it. Let's whatever we got to do. Michael Norman run the 200. Let's see what happens.
So
Norman,
Lamar, since Lamar predicted it, and me and Lucious are waiting to see who's running.
Right.
Lamar, do you believe? Is your prediction that, because you referenced Christian, is your prediction that Christian Coleman, the void left by Christian Coleman, is going to then prompt Michael Norman to say, I'm going 1-2? Because I don't believe there's any scenario. There's not enough glory in just winning the 2, right? It's got to be the 1-2 or the 4-2. So which double are you predicting he's going for?
So I'm going to go deeper than that. I don't think it matters. I think Noah doing the double is what's pushing me that Michael's going to win the 2. I'll take Noah. What I'm saying is, like, if Michael goes 4-2, if Michael goes 4-2 and Noah goes 1-2, I'm taking Michael in the 2.
Oh, no,
if Michael goes 1-2 and Noah goes 1-2, I'm taking Michael in the 2. If Noah just runs the 2, nobody can beat him. If that's all he's running, I don't think anybody can beat him. If that's all he's running.
I got you.
But
here's the problem. I think
you have with you got those rounds of the 100, and I know they're only rounds of the 100, but it's just a different stimuli.
You see, and that's the thing. If Noah can handle the rounds of the 100 physically, mentally, I don't worry about Noah Lyles.
Not at all.
The dude's an absolute warrior. If he's as long as he's healthy, he's gonna bring it. And the big thing for him now is he got the monkey off his back. He's 1-1. You know, like anybody that saw the World Championship could tell he was a nervous wreck. That wasn't Noah Lyles that we know and love. But now that he's got that monkey off his back, he knows he can boogie. He can party in that area code. He's good. So as long as he can physically handle the rounds of the 100, he's hard to bet against. But if there's one guy that can party with him, it's Michael Norman. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
And I'll say this: if they both double, and Kenny Bednarik only runs the 2, they got problems. Not necessarily that he's going to beat them, but he's a pain in the ass for both of them.
I'm telling you, dog.
If he hasn't done anything else, he's a problem.
Like, okay, they talk about it was wind dated. It was this. Okay, it was wind dated. But
whatever.
The 44 seconds wasn't wind dated. I know that.
No.
It wasn't.
44 was all the way real.
Look, all you gotta do is see Kenny Bednarik run one time, and you know he's the real deal.
And like I said, I seen video, but when I saw him up close in person, this guy, I'm telling you, and he's figuring it out.
He's a specimen.
Yeah. And see, he's got the benefit of being around daily one of the greatest sprinters ever in Justin Gatlin. That's got to be helpful in some way. But remember now, I want to hear everybody tweeting it every day. Michael, go to the 2. Michael, go to the 2.
I literally have
a
note.
He probably ain't gonna listen, but Michael, go to the 2.
I saw a video of him doing block starts with a grizzle bearded old guy that's done a few things. So I'm just saying.
Will you stop stirring the pot, please?
I didn't put the video
I want
out
it on Lucious. I want it on record. I didn't say that.
Thank you, Clyde, because he definitely said it.
Video.
Okay, that didn't mean you had to comment on
video.
it. You didn't have to comment on it. It's because you saw it.
It's relevant to my pick.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely relevant to my pick.
Look, okay, that is just your petty way of covering up your pettiness. So
No.
whatever. But at the end of the
It's
day,
relevant
again,
to my pick.
like as the old folks would say, tweet it, book face it, you know, Instagram instant it, whatever they want to, whatever you call it. Get it out there. Michael Norman run to 200.
Wow.
Face place.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it? Black Planet. And there's another one out there that's hella old, right?
Exactly. You know, come on now.
Oh
Because
my God.
we need that type of excitement.
Michael Norman
let's talk
run
about,
the
you know,
200.
That when we talk about, you know, you think about the Michael Carl, stuff like that, you know, the things that used to get people like on their feet before the race ever started. Okay. Imagine how packed and how excited the cathedral will be, Clyde.
Oh,
for
yes.
the Olympic trials 200 final, when you got Michael Norman, Noah Lyles, Kenny Banderick, and whoever else claims they want to be part of that party.
And the NFL players in the prelims of the 100. That's all. Those are the only two things we need.
Right.
Those two things right there.
Right.
Nobody wants to see that.
So I need all of
Everybody
you.
wants to see that.
We need to send this to the
Everybody
agents.
wants to see that.
Send this
Let's
to
see.
all the
Let's see,
agents.
what they need, if we want to make our sport a circus, which is what that does, in my opinion, then let them have their own clown show. They can come out there and run an Expedition 100, and don't put them on the track with us. I don't want to see that.
I want to see the bloodletting.
See,
I wanna see
that's because you're
the
petty.
curb stomping.
I
I
don't
want
want
to
to
see all of it.
Yeah, and this has gotten out of hand. Apparently, there's all kind of tweets with all kind of major track and field stars. And so
Yeah.
maybe they need to be shut up. You're right.
All I
you
know
know
is somebody referred to Flamingo as not a world-class athlete.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
between the
done with normal people now.
between the disrespect of Grant Holloway and the epic shout out to Joe Kovacs, the epic tweet.
Epic.
Joe Kovacs. Listen, I'm off. Bring them in. I want
Number of NFL football players stronger than me. Zero. Best thing. And here's the thing. I'm not sure that Joe Kovacs is actually stronger than Chuck Inequity. And I'm telling y'all right now, listen, I've seen this dude with my own two eyes squat 1,000 pounds and have a 40-inch vertical within 3 days of each other. And I'm telling you, that doesn't exist in the NFL.
Oh no.
That guy doesn't exist. So, like,
And anybody that thinks Flamingo isn't a world-class athlete has clearly lost their.
bruh. No, they just never seen him.
Exactly.
The only way you make that statement is you've never seen him.
That's just pure ignorance. That's what that is. And if you've seen him,
But the best thing that came from that was Flamingo's huddle video. I was here for that, watching this dude moss little children. It was amazing. He was just stiff-arming small children in Virginia. Get away from me. I was like, this is hilarious. He looked like DK Metcalf in the NFL. Just pushing little dudes off of him. Like, excuse me.
And isn't that how this whole conversation started with that dude?
It is.
Okay.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny how that works.
It is. Yep, it is.
Clyde is not the only petty one on this show.
Yep. And we know who we know who the two unpetty people are.
Oh, don't get that.
I don't know about that.
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
Well, I
Big
know
League just doesn't show
I'm
her
not
petty
petty.
colors very often.
I'm not petty at all. I'm not petty. And I'm not gonna let you call Big League petty. I'm just not gonna let you do that.
Okay.
I refuse to believe that Big League is petty. I just won't do it.
Big League, are you petty?
I'm frozen.
And there's your answer, folks.
Exactly.
Big League
yes,
is
sir.
from the Bay. Big League is from the Bay.
Oh,
She's petty too.
We drink petty.
yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Big League. I just haven't seen that. I just haven't seen that side of you.
Few and far between.
Yeah.
Few and far between. You never know what's happening until you're done with it. So.
She's showing some signs of it right now.
I tell y'all.
Okay. So I apologize. I didn't know.
No.
But I know I'm not petty at all, so that means I'm greatly outnumbered on this pen.
How you do it? How you do it, Clyde?
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I will have the Twitter brigade start next, or when we debut the show.
Please come
I will
on.
have the Twitter brigade happen. I've already got a note written to myself with a hashtag. So, Mikey, you might as well do it. Coach is saying you got to run. All right. Well, let's keep the seats hot. Let's get Clyde going on this rapid fire. And I promise it is rapid. It should be rapid. It's prescribed to be rapid.
You got this, Clyde.
Hey, it was tough last time.
These ones I feel like are a little bit easier, but I will admit you are susceptible to more of the interpersonal questions because you're the only one that hasn't been like tied down forever at this point. So we have to reveal your I don't know.
Lord,
we'll put it
where
on.
is this going? Oh, hold on.
Well, it's gonna be good.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Before you get started, I think we have to give a shout out to Clyde's hat. That's a very sharp hat, Clyde. Very sharp.
It is.
Roll on, you bear.
Nobody asked for all that.
See?
Nope. Too much.
My bad.
Too much. Nice hat.
Face fight song?
Are you done? Wow. Are you done? Okay, here we go, Chew, because I'm not doing that.
Chew, where are my questions?
That was a good one.
Where are my questions, Chew?
Yeah,
all right, we ready?
I am.
Wusa, you're on vacation. Are you on Australia or the Bahamas?
Bahamas.
Got it. Do you write in blue ink or black ink?
Black. Never thought of that.
Yeah. When you're writing workouts, is it pen to paper or all electronic? Exposed, my bad.
It's chaos is what it is. It's chaos.
Got it.
It's mostly here. It's mostly here.
Got it. You're getting ready to go on a date. Are you wearing a sweater or a sports coat?
Neither. I'm from the Bay.
I love it. I love it. Big box, Costco or Sam's Club?
Costco.
Love it. What I guess where and what is your favorite sandwich spot?
Oh man. Oh. That's my favorite. Oh man.
I love it.
All of a sudden, we're not so rapid, are we?
You know what? It's Roxy's. Roxy's in the city. If you know, you know.
So many in the city that you can. I mean, it is good, but so many in the city that you can just land on that are so good.
Yeah.
All right, the last vulnerable question. You're getting ready to demo. Are you demoing or is an athlete demoing?
I don't demo. I don't do that no more. Shout out to Tiana B. When she's around, she is the demo. When she's not around, an unknowing freshman or somebody else is going to be the demo. My demo days are 95% over. It has to be an extreme situation for me to demo. I have learned that lesson.
Whew. You have survived, sir.
Well done.
Good job, sir.
Oh man. Yeah, I haven't learned the demoing lesson yet. I'm recovering.
Yeah, keep living.
I don't get the kids don't pay me, and therefore I'm not demoing.
I love it. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our heartbeat props for the week. We're going to lift up some people and say thank you while they're still here to say thank you too. Who would like to start us off?
I'll go first this week. My carrying over from the conversation we were having earlier, and this week being the week that it is in our sport. Honestly, my heartbeat props go out to the class of 2021. It's been a crazy recruiting cycle. We all have our stories. I've been really impressed, with the kids and the families and the patience and the resolve and the stress management that I've been able to witness. These are unprecedented times, and I think the majority of everybody has handled themselves really gracefully under extreme pressure. And so for everybody, coast to coast, that found their homes and definitely, made a whole bunch of people happy and broke a lot of hearts along the way. The class of 2021, props to you all. And it's just getting started, and I'm excited about everybody's future.
Well said, sir.
Well said.
I'll go next, no problem. I'm gonna give my heartbeat props tonight to a lady who touched so many lives and so many careers, a lady that held an organization down for a long time, that did a lot of hard work out in front and behind the scenes, a lady that held a lot of teams together and was the glue that people didn't know that she was and didn't see. And so my heartbeat props tonight go out to Miss Sandy Snow, who was just an absolute gem of a lady to work with. Just really, I can remember from the first team I was involved with that she was involved with, it was very clear who you went to get the right answer, to get the right way to handle something. And so Mama Sandy, we love you and we miss you. And I just want to say thank you for everything you did for me and all of my troops and all the other troops out there for USA Track and Field.
Well said.
Well said.
We love Sandy.
Also well said. I'm going to beat a dead horse, and I'm going to keep flogging that horse until it resurrects itself. But my heartbeat props go to all of the Clemson men's track and field alumni, and the fact that they have figured out that they need to stand up, be counted, be recognized, and explain to the university that their relevance matters. Hey, I got a stat for everybody. If you take out football and basketball, there were 51 minority male student athletes at Clemson prior to them cutting men's track and field and cross country. And now there are, I think, 20 that don't play football or basketball. I'll let everybody else draw their own conclusions from that. So having coached there and knowing some of those alumni and having gotten, a long, heartfelt call from one Mr. Marcus Brown, and having coached Corey Thalheimer and been around for the exquisite coaching of Spencer Adams and Marcus Maxey and all that other crew, I'll just say that, and having been old enough to see Terrence Harrington run people down as the off the pace winner in the 1500 at the USA's, that group of people matter in the pantheon of collegiate track and field. And I'll be damned if it's going to go out not kicking and screaming. And if I have to wear my Clemson hat and keep saying crazy things every week and keep making sure that it stays relevant, I will, because I didn't go there. I'm not an alum. But at the end of the day, the fact that I know the fabric and the history should say how important the history is in the pantheon of collegiate men's track and field in general. So my heartbeat props go to that wonderful group of young men who are now maybe not even so young, but you can't tell me that James Trapp and Michael Green don't matter.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Way to make some wheels spin in that head, sir. Last but not least, I would love to give some heartbeat props and lift up a amazing young lady, a former athlete that I was blessed to work with. She was a thrower, so I didn't get to work with her technically. But thank goodness this not so little girl anymore. She won my heart in my PE class. She transferred in from Hawaii, and she was just sitting on a roll call number, and she wasn't little, but she had a very timid behavior to her, or timid nature to her. And as she blossomed through her 4 years of high school and then post high school, just her love and her heart just exude from her. And she's so caring and so protective, and, you know, having to let her class know that I would not be able to finish their freshman year out with them because of cancer. You know, I didn't realize till she just, you know, years and years. I mean, I think we're 7 years removed now from high school with her specifically. Still very protective over me and the things that I do, even though she's sitting in there recovering from surgery, not open heart surgery, but she was getting prepped to have open heart surgery this past week. But she taught me that love is the way, no matter how mad we are and how many bad things happen to us and how many tragedies we endure. Love is the way, always. It doesn't matter. We always have to love each other, and that way we all survive. We figure it out together. And Miss Lena Toki, I love you, little girl. I know you can still whoop my butt, but I will whoop yours even harder because Mama said so. So Miss Lena, rest up, get healthy, and I will see you sooner than later. COVID warranted. So yeah, great round of heartbeat props. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff, gentlemen. So Twitter, here is coming. Here's coming. Mikey in the 200. Don't forget, we will be doing a live episode. That one made me nervous saying it out loud. A live episode on December 16th. We'll be able to field some questions.
We got this, big league. We got
Yeah, we do, for sure. We'll field some questions live streamed, and we will be able to hear you all roaring behind us, figuratively. So thank you again for all of your time, your patience, your encouragement, your support, and above all else, your desire to be better. And we appreciate you for all of that. So thank you so much, Lamar, Lucious, and Clyde. Have a great week ahead of you. We will see you all soon.
Peace.
Oh, he flipped the switch. Good night.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics, LLC, there's no others. Track and field's place and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and failed and sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics, LLC, the task force.